Well, hello again, BookTube. First thing I want to say is sorry for the very long hiatus that I have been on over the past month. This past month, really the entire month of July and most of late June has been just ridiculous. It's just been awful. Uh, I'm in grad school right now, and I've been taking classes in the summer. And if you are considering taking classes in the summer for grad school or undergrad or whatever, word of advice: don't don't do it. The semester is shortened by like 4 weeks, and it's made especially more difficult whenever you take a 6 week class. So really, the entire month of July and the first week of August, and really the last month of June, I took about a 6 week, they call it a B term class, it's a 6 week class. And it's a semester's worth of graduate work crammed into 6 weeks. Uh, for whatever reason, the program that I'm in decides that that's a good idea to do. Uh, it's I did one of those last summer, and it sucked, and I don't know why I decided to do one again, but it was the only option I had for this particular class because there aren't enough professors to go around in this program. It's a small university that I'm at, and it was just completely terrible. And not to mention, I had a very heated discussion with the professors that teach that class. So it's co-taught by 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 two people. One of them is a full professor, with tenure, and the other one is somebody that I actually work with in my internship. And he's sort of just an adjunct instructor. But I had a very heated argument with them about a particular assignment, and let's just say uh, it did not go well, and we will not be sending each other Christmas cards um, in December. But so yeah, over the past month, I've done really no reading because so this is what my schedule looked like for those 6 weeks. So I worked until 4 o'clock on Mondays, and had a class from 4:40 to 8 on Mondays. And then Tuesday I was at my internship from 8:30 to 4, and then I would have a class from 4:40 to 8 o'clock. And then Wednesday I would work until 4 o'clock, and then I would have a class from 4:40 to 8 o'clock. And then Thursday I would be at my internship until noon, and then work from noon to 4 at my job, and then I would have class from 4:40 to 8. And then Friday I would work until 4 o'clock, but then I wouldn't have anything to do. So, like, really, Friday through Sunday were the only days that I was not constantly going from one thing to the other, but I would have to use those days to do classwork, do homework, things like that. Just the absolute worst schedule. But it's over now and everything's fine. But so all that to say, I've been doing very little, or well, no reading, and uh, this video I'm making now is a video for Short Story Summer. I'm sure a lot of you are participating. It's a BookTube event in the month of August dedicated to reading short stories and short fiction. And believe it or not, that is a genre that I never read all that much. I've read a good amount of Anton Chekhov's short stories, and I love his stuff. But I never really, outside of him, I never really read any of his. I never really read any short stories, and so this for the rest of this month of August, that's something that I really want to dive into, and a particular author that I decided to read last night to sort of get me back into reading. Last night, I read a short story by William Trevor, and this was the first time that I really had any time to read something all the way through in over a month, and so it was definitely an uphill battle at first, trying to rework those muscles, but it was very much worth it, and I will do a lot more of that today. And yeah, it's a short story by William Trevor called A Choice of Butchers. And William Trevor is an author that I'd never read before, and I had never even heard of him until a few months ago. I think Steve Donahue, yeah, it was Steve Donahue did a video of like a starter kit for Irish fiction, and Irish fiction, that's another thing where as Irish as I am, I never read Irish fiction. I read a little bit of James Joyce, which is eh, and I think I read a short story by Frank O'Connor here and there. But Irish fiction is just something I never read, and so he held up this big collection of William Trevor's short stories, and so I decided to read from that. And I'm reading on this device that Steve actually bullied me into getting. He sent me one, and I the kids call this an ebook or an e-reader. I think it's called a Kindle Paperwhite. Um, I don't know what the young people do nowadays. I've always read physical books. I think that they are superior, but Steve basically badgered me into getting one of these. He sent me one very nicely. He very generously. He sent me one for free, and so and then he bombarded me with ebooks. And so this is one of the short story collections he sent me, and this is the collected William Trevor. Only thing I don't understand, and I don't know why they do this with Kindles, is that everything is in black and white. Uh, I don't understand that at all. At least when it comes to like the book covers, why don't you put it in color? But anyway, and I have a blue light blocker on there, so that's why it's a little bit orange. Anyway, the short story that I read is called A Choice of Butchers, and it came out, I believe, in 1972, and it's told from the perspective, or well, of a narrator looking back on when he was 7 years old, and he experiences his father doing something um, sort of immoral, and as a 7 year old, he's trying to make sense of what is going on, and he's trying to like he doesn't really like his dad. His dad is kind of a schmuck. The reason why it's called A Choice of Butchers is because his dad is a butcher. He has a slaughterhouse that's like connected to their house, and I think it's County Cork where the story is set. And it's not a long story, but it's really good. My first exposure to William Trevor is like I will be definitely be, I will definitely be reading a lot more of him. Um, and so yeah, this narrator, his father is a butcher, and he does something immoral that, unbeknownst to him, his son witnessed, and so his son is just trying to make sense of that, and then there is a person that works in their house. He's actually a sort of apprentice to his father, named Mr. Duclos, and he sort of acts as the father figure to this narrator, to this boy, and the boy is thinking that throughout the whole story he's thinking, well, why is my father this schmuck and not Mr. Duclos? Like, I much prefer him. You know, he's the one that kisses me goodnight, puts me into bed, tells me stories, um, and his father doesn't do any of that. His father is a well, typical Irish bastard, and so yeah, so the story is it's very poignant. It's detailed around a lot of longing. Um, that's something that I think William Trevor captured really well. Is just the longing for something better. That sort of subtle sadness that is in a lot of Irish fiction, or that seems to be in a lot of Irish fiction, definitely in Irish music and Irish folk songs. That's one thing I do know very well is the traditional Irish folk songs. And I really enjoyed this story, and it's something that I will be continuing with. I'm just trying to get back into making videos. As you can tell, I'm not as polished off as usual, um, but yeah, definitely I would definitely be continuing to read these on this weird alien device that I was given. Yeah, it just turned off on me. I'm still just trying to figure out how to use this thing. It's very it's very convenient. The one thing I do love about this is that my eyes are really photosensitive. They're actually, I don't know if you can tell, but I have like basically silver eyes, and because of that, it makes my eyes really photosensitive, and so any kind of lighting sort of hurts my eyes. I have to have a very particular style of like lighting in the room that I'm in or whatever in order to really read a physical book. Even though I prefer physical books, that's the one caveat of it. And with this thing, I can read it. I can sit with it, in the middle of the night with all the lights off, and then this thing will still be there. That's yeah, I can still read off of this. So that is one benefit. That's one thing that this has over the physical books. I'm still learning how to use it as far as like doing the bookmarks and just a bunch of different things with it. It's an uphill battle. I've never used one of these before. I'm trying to get a case for it so that I'm not just holding this thing, you know, out in the open, because I don't imagine that this is a very sturdy device. But anyway, that's my video for Short Story Summer, A Choice of Butchers by William Trevor. Um, yeah, tell me about what you're reading for Short Story Summer. I will definitely be making more videos. I'll be reading more short stories this summer, this month. So yeah, I guess I'll see you next time.